Breaking news out of the Gaza City Al-Shifa Hospital, which is surrounded currently by Israeli IDF soldiers, in which uh, there currently a fire has broken out on the upper floor of the hospital. Dozens have been killed and wounded, it is reported, and civilians were forced to leave the hospital under the constant bombardment and shelling in the shooting. In return, civilians have been shot at while fleeing the hospital in surrounding areas. This is a tactic that bears watching, um, but it's just, the same old song. So here we are, a current article from the Times of Israel. Troops operating at Shifa Hospital in Gaza City filing intelligence on Hamas terror activity. This is the boy who cried wolf. Every single square inch of land in Gaza City, in Rafah, and everywhere else in that was a Palestinian refugee camp or city is Hamas dominated. This is the excuse they use. And if that was really the case, if Hamas was everywhere as they stated, then that would mean that there should have been dozens and dozens and dozens more attacks on the Israelis in the years prior. It really makes no sense what they're doing. And look, this may work with the evangelical Christian community, but it doesn't work with people who are not so imbued, we're not so brainwashed into their religious identity or political identity, however slanted it is. And those who have empathy for the many hundreds of thousands, millions of people now, 1.8 million displaced, 30, was it 31,000 now killed, that are not Hamas. 12,000 of them children. Are they Hamas too? And if you go by Cabinet Minister of Finance, Ben Gvir, or if you go by the other settlers that are in this war cabinet, Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet, they make no distinction between Palestinians and animals. Some of these people would go so far as to say that they deserve to die. If you think Benjamin Netanyahu is bad, and he belongs in the fictitious hell that the Christians and Muslims believe, wait till you see what's coming up after him, right? Let's read the article. The Israeli Defense Forces say troops are operating overnight at the Al-Shifa Hospital complex in Gaza City amid intelligence that senior Hamas officials were in the area and using the hospital to plan and carry out terror activity. In a statement overnight, the military say troops at the hospital were briefed in advance regarding the importance of preventing harm to civilians, patients, medical teams, and medical equipment, and that Arabic speakers were with the security forces to facilitate communication with patients and staff. Meanwhile, this is all hypocritical now because we have reports that the people fleeing the hospital are getting shot at. They got to be lying, right? But the historical record will tell you that this is not a uncommon occurrence. It's a common occurrence with the Israeli government. It's military. They bomb hospitals. They kill defenseless people. Never mind Palestinian Islamic Jihad or Hamas, the Al Qassam brigades. The civilianry, which are killed 10 times more than the enemy, have no ways of defending themselves. They don't have a standing military. A country is using its standing military to kill off its indigenous Arab population. Full stop. You can't defend it. I'm sorry. Without losing your moral compass. This is not about me being an anti-Jew or an anti-Semite. I'd like to think my work speaks for itself. I condemn immoral and illegal actions by everybody, whether it's Israel or Saudi Arabia or the United States. IDF doctors were also on hand, according to the announcement. You think they're going in the hospital? The patients and the medical teams were not ordered to evacuate the hospital, but the military created pathways for civilians to leave the area. Meanwhile, they're getting shot at when they're leaving. Once the operation at the hospital is over, the IDF will continue the humanitarian effort and provide food, water, and additional supplies to patients and civilians in the complex, which is all bullshit anyway, because they're blocking financial and, humanitarian aid from other countries from coming in. So please spare me the, holier than thou attitude here. And if you heard this story before about bombing Al-Shifa Hospital, that's because it happened before. Here's a January 2024 article. U.S. believes Hamas used Al-Shifa Hospital, but evacuated before Israeli operations, said a source. In other words, they were never there. Right? In this article, it states that U.S. spy agency assessed that Islamist groups Hamas and another Palestinian group fighting Israel used Al-Shifa Hospital to command forces and hold some hostages, but largely evacuated the complex days before Israeli troops entered it, citing a U.S. declassified intelligence source. The complex was used by both Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad to command forces fighting against Israel, said a U.S. official speaking on conditions of anonymity. Right? U.S. intelligence agencies did not disclose the evidence, which they based on their assessment. The official said that U.S. independently confirmed the information. Hey, we have the information. We're not going to share it because we're most likely making shit up. That's what's happening here. It is beyond redemption here. And the rest of the world's silence, with the exception of certain African governments, at least the people are saying something about it. I mean, we just saw a massive protest in France today, completely massive. But the United States government, including Representative Brian Mast, sellouts, bunch of illiterate, incompetent, immoral sellouts, especially those in the Republican Party, conservative party, who are affiliated with the Christian Evangelical Society of the South, who need Israel to basically exist in order for the justification of the second coming of Christ. And these people want the world to die in order to achieve their selfish version of being alive forever at the grace of this God they believe in. I'm atheist. I don't go by their primitive ideology. And that's not to say that Christian theology is basically wrong or that it's just the same. It's not. In fact, if you listen to a Christian theologist, they have a different understanding of the Bible altogether on a moral and apolitical experience. Most evangelical Christians never read a Bible. It's read to them. Sound familiar? It's exactly what Wahhabis do. They don't read the Quran. It's read to them by these self-serving imams and clerics in the same fashion that you have self-serving people like John Agee, Kenneth Copeland, and Benny Hinn who teach the Bible, and they teach it incorrectly. Self-serving. So we need more people to speak out and share the subject altogether. If we can't get to a protest, if we can't do, any financial donations to Gazans, report it. It's the least you can do, and report it honestly. So that's all for this updated video today, just to show you if there's any more updates regarding this situation, you'll hear it from me without bias and prejudice. Have a good night, everybody.